briefing from Gregory Streckler, Safety, Security, and Risk Management Director.
Good morning. So just want to remind everyone, in the event of evacuation, the main evacuation route from this room is directly to the north, the door just to the north of the building. We go through that door straight out into the parking lot. And the main zone where we all would gather is where the parking lot meets the street, right there in Vernon. The secondary, in the event that evacuation route is blocked, the secondary evacuation route is directly behind me through the main doors. Down the stairs, do not take the elevator in the event of an emergency evacuation. And you would come out straight into the parking lot. And again, evacuation area for that route is where the parking lot meets Vernon Street as well. We have an AED available in the lobby downstairs in the event of a medical emergency. Is there anyone in here who has CPR certification? Go ahead, raise your hands. They can help. Hopefully you're willing to help in the event of a medical emergency. And then someone within the room would need to volunteer to, of course, contact 911. In the event of an earthquake situation, the first thing to do would be to go under the desks if you're by the desks. If you're by the window, avoid the windows. If you're in an area of the room that's not near desks, the best place to be is towards the walls, not towards the center of the room in the event of a collapse. Wait until the earthquake ends, and then once it's safe to do so, go ahead and evacuate. Again, making sure you do not use the elevator in that kind of situation. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. So we now wish to acknowledge and welcome our newly appointed and returning directors. Representing the city of Watsonville is Jimmy Dutra, who hopefully is on his way. Representing the county of Santa Cruz, we welcome Fabian Leonor. And representing the city of Capitola is Melinda Orbach. She's not able to join us today. Representing Cabrillo College is Alton Orcutt. Welcome back. And representing UCSC is Edward Reiskin. I think he's here. Right. Okay. So we'll now conduct our roll call.
Director Downing.
Here.
Director Dutra. Director Colin Johnson is absent. Director Koenig.
Here.
Director Lynn.
Here.
Director Leonor.
Here.
Director Newsom.
Present.
Director Orbach is absent. Director Kiros Carter is absent. Director Rotkin.
Here.
Ex officio Director Northcutt.
Here.
And ex officio Director Riskin is absent. And we do have one.
Thank you. Community Television of Santa Cruz is broadcasting today's meeting, and it will be available on their YouTube channel next week. Maria Avila is providing the Spanish interpretation services today.
Morning, my name is Maria. I'm from Language Line. I'm here for any Spanish interpretation services. Mi nombre es María. Estoy aquí para los servicios de intérprete en español.
So the board will now review our slate for 2025 officers and appointments, receive board comments, followed by comments from the public. And we'll display that up on the screens. You can all see it.
Next meeting.
Can you read? Sorry?
Vote on this at the next.
Yes. So if you look at the slate, sorry, I'm scrolling through my own, so our slate, our first position is for chair. That's me, nominated by me. Vice chair is Manu Koenig. After that, we have the Capital Project Standing Committee. And this year, you have Jimmy Dutra, Scott Newsom, and we've left the last position open for our county supervisor appointment, which will happen on the next week.
Next Tuesday.
And then the Finance, Budget, and Audit Standing Committee will have Shepard, Colin Johnson, Donna Lind, Manu Koenig, Mike Rotkin, and there is one left open if we want to add as county supervisor. So for Personnel and Human Resources Committee, myself, Manu Koenig, Shepard, Colin Johnson, Donna Lind, Vanessa Kiros Carter. And for the SCCIC representatives, this year is Shepherd Military Johnson, myself, Manu Koenig, Donna Lynn, and Scott Newsom. I just filled those slots, so if we want to discuss who has which office, if that's important to you. You know, we meet once a year for about 10 minutes.
In case people don't know, this is an agency that we need to have in order to transfer funds if we do a big loan issue of some sort. Apparently you need some artificial body in between the board and the people that are giving you the loan. So we created this body. It used to meet, we did one big loan, I think back in the 80s or something. And at that time we got a lunch out of it or something, but that was it. So it's not a big responsibility.
Thank you. For the appointments to the Santa Cruz Regional Transportation Commission, there's Mike Rotkin, myself, and Jimmy Dutra. And the alternates this year are Donna Lind, Vanessa Quiroz Carter, and Fabian Leonore. So that is our slate, and let's discuss. Board members have any questions?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so obviously this is an opportunity for everyone to propose play if you want, and we would vote at the next meeting. I think we have a spot open on the, finance committee. Certainly invite, new members to join that if they are interested. It's a great opportunity to get an early look and more frequent look at, the budget and ridership numbers, and I found it really useful being on that committee. But otherwise, I'm perfectly satisfied myself with the slates proposed by the chair.
Anyone else?
Very happy with the slate proposed. Thank you.
I agree with Mono. When I was first told budget, I said, I hate numbers, please no. But I am so glad I was appointed. I've been on that committee for quite a while, but I've learned a lot, and especially coming in new. It really helped give me an overview that I wouldn't have had with just the board member meeting, so.
How much time do I have to decide if I really want to do this?
Well, we can also propose an alternate slate with you on it and decide at the next meeting. They're typically, when we meet at 8:30, right?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, right.
9:30, not long.
I'd say at the longest, yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But,
Would you be okay in being?
Yes, go ahead and put me on that list.
And you can change, you
Yeah.
tell us if you change?
Definitely, I'll be willing to get on that finance committee.
Any other comments from the board? Great. Do we have any public comment?
Hi, my name's Brian Peoples. I'm from Trail Now. We're a local organization, been around for over a decade, thousands of local supporters. Our primary goal is to improve transportation across the county, open the coastal corridor from Watsonville to Santa Cruz or Davenport in a timely, cost-effective, and eco-friendly manner. Our frustration that hasn't been happening. And a lot of that burden has been because of the previous board members that represented Metro on the RTC. Included in the handout is a letter we sent to Sarah Christensen, who's the RTC executive director for the RTC, about Guy Preston, who was former executive director. And Guy essentially quit from that agency because the board wasn't listening to him on how best to move forward with the trail. And this organization's representatives actually were leading that dispute, and they failed to listen to the expert. And now what we have is we built 1 mile in a decade. It's costing 26 miles, 26 million a mile to build a 12-foot wide trail. That's twice as much as building the highway.
Hey, Brian, do you have comments on this agenda item?
So I'm getting to
Okay.
it. The point is the current slate that you have on there with past representative on the RTC should not be elected for the RTC, just because of the failure to listen to the expert on rail banking process. So we do not support that slate just because of the representatives who were on the board previously. So you should have another slate. We recommend that you have another slate because Metro should not be the ones who are causing conflict because Metro will have problems with financial and they need our support if they go for future funding. So that's what we're asking. It's the slate for the RTC board that you have on there, that you have an alternative to that. We support Jimmy Dutra. We support more South County representatives. The fact that you're a phenomenal person, we agree. But we want new blood. Jimmy's been on the RTC. He's been on the RTC. I see the clock and I started early. Thank you for your time.
Any other public comment in the room? Any online?
Yes, we do have, Tim, can you hear us?
Hello, yes.
Yes, do you have a comment about this item?
I do. I'd like to know why you are running Route 79 buses every half an hour when the average ridership is 3 people per 50-foot bus. We are
Thank
a
you.
senior, we're a
Gotta-
senior
can we
village.
stop him?
Bay Village Senior Village is a senior village.
Sorry about that. We're gonna let you speak later during open comments. This particular time is for discussion about the slate. Any other online comments? No.
That was the only one.
So, yes.
I'd like to respond to the comment from the member of the public. There's often advice that when people make comments from the public that have misinformation, we should just sit here quietly and let them go by. That's not my view. I'm not gonna get into a big bunch of details about it, but the representation for why Guy Preston resigned is not an accurate representation. And I don't think the member of the public should take it upon him or herself to step forward and say, this is why he did it, and this is what it means, when it basically serves their purposes, but not necessarily Guy Preston's. Thank you.
So a motion is required to approve the nomination slate for consideration at our February 28th meeting. And this allows for additional slates to be considered then as well. So do we have a motion?
I move we approve the slate as recommended.
Second.
And Director Koenig seconds it. Shall we take a vote?
Can I make one brief comment?
Yes.
before we vote? I just want to say, also, to some extent responding to the comments, knowing Guy Preston well, I would also agree that's a misrepresentation of why he left the position. I would also say that we're seeing a lot of turnover on the RTC this year. Almost half of all the folks who've been representatives on that commission will be new to at least some of the subject matter. And I think to that extent, having some consistency in the representation from Metro, people including Commissioner Rotkin, who of course knows the agency well, it will be a benefit to both agencies.
I have a question. Is there a reason why the ex officios can't serve on some of these as alternates?
What has to do with? Huh? I'm guessing. This shouldn't.
Well, you don't have to vote, but you can serve there, represent the community.
So my understanding is the ex officio, because you're not a voting member of this board, you don't have the ability to sit on the boards of other agencies.
Got it.
But it's something you could bring up with the RTC.
Yeah.
Because they only have one ex officio, and I believe it's the Caltrans representative.
So maybe you could become an ex officio
I'm just
on
asking.
that body. Another
And it wasn't for
non-voting.
that, it was more for the finance, only because we have a real vested interest in the budget, since we help fund some of the things, so it was more of that, not the.
Think more formal discussions with the RTC director.
About the finance.
Finance.
Sorry, yeah. Right, I wasn't talking about the artist.
Let's talk about Route 79.
Oh,
Not right now.
Okay, okay, thank you.
We're speaking as a member of the Alzheimer's meeting.
How about now?
Okay, there
We got it. Are we roll calling?
And-
No.
Well, just to,
We did for this.
and just to clarify, the slate that we're moving include, Director Leonore on the finance budget and audit committee.
Thank you. We don't need a roll call. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
That's for voice vote.
So roll call, yes?
No, voice vote.
We can aye. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes.
Ask for abstentions. Ask for abstentions as well.
Did we have any abstentions?
So if they ask.
Item 8 is, I'm sorry, item 7, do any of our board directors have comments this morning?
I do. I want to remind you all and hopefully our, there's John, friends that Cabrillo's contract is set to expire this term. So they open it up for elections and we know that the student body has to actually vote and then have a majority of those who voted approved to extend. And then we usually enter 3 years. So this is the end of our grace period for the 3 years so that we can go to the ballots. I just want to put that out there.
Do you need anything from us?
I just need folks to be aware in case there's a marketing campaign that needs to happen.
Yeah, we should definitely ask us, you need to go down there and help out.
Yeah, I need that to be initiated because I run a student senate, so I can't. But I can have folks request to come on campus to market. And I do want to make sure that we include the fact that Cabrillo is getting housing and the Metro might be a wonderful resource for housing.
Thank you. So item 8 is set aside for directors and members of the general public to address any item not on the agenda, which is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. No action or discussion may be taken on an item presented except that any director may respond to statements made or questions asked, or may ask questions for clarification, and all matters of an administrative nature will be referred to our staff. So each public comment is limited to 3 minutes or less. Please step to the podium if you wish to speak. Share your name if you wish.
Thank you, Brian. Peoples with Trail Now. Again, we're a local organization of thousands of supporters, including Guy Preston. We communicate very frequently with him, more so than suspect any of the board members do down here. So we understand what his rationale is about transportation. Our community has been burdened by representatives from this organization on the RTC on effective investments on opening the coastal corridor, the transportation corridor that runs from Watsonville to Davenport. When you're spending $26 million mile, your late years and late segment 7 that's over by the wharf is years late, millions over budget. It's even extended out to even longer now. All of these delays and the cost on our community of not opening that corridor. And we don't even have the money to do it now for the plan that's set forward. It truly, when you look at who is behind stopping the open of the coastal corridor, it really comes down to the Metro representatives that have been on the RTC, Kristen Brown, Larry, and Mike Rock. So we're truly asking for you to stop with an ideology of rail at any cost. Rail at any cost. My friend Rob Quinn, who was on the board, Dr. Rob Quinn, who unfortunately passed away, who helped start Rail Now, came up with that when he went and started getting involved, being on the board of the RTC. He felt that the Metro representatives on the RTC said, we gotta have rail no matter what. Even though you can't have rail, it's already been proven. The Coastal Commission will never allow it because of sea level rising requirements and beach access. So our community is being very detrimentally hurt by the actions from members of this board on the RTC who are not listening to the experts. And the best case is Guy Preston, who in 2022 tried to rail bank it. But members from this board pushed back and stopped him from doing it. If we had been able to do that, we wouldn't be closing low-income housing over off of 38th Avenue. We wouldn't be suing private individuals. We would have a trail. So we're asking this board to stop with a rail at any cost. Let's open up the corridor today, as Guy Preston recommended in 2022. Thank you for your time.
Hi, Portia Raymer here. A few things I'd like to talk to you about. One, I am a user of paratransit and mine recently expired, which was something I didn't know it did. That's probably mostly on me. There was a lot going on in my life when I first qualified for Paracruz. You probably could have told me 10 times that now that I qualified for Paracruz, I'll see chocolate Easter bunnies fall out of the sky once a month, and I would have went, oh, okay. So, but I have started that process, and it does go through ADA right now and not through Metro directly. And I understand completely the reasons behind that, and they make sense. I don't know what you can, how much involvement you can have in what the process looks like. It's not as intuitive as ADA Ride makes you think it is. It does have to be done. If you do it online, it has to be done on an actual computer. I couldn't do it on my smartphone. We don't have students in our house anymore, so we don't have a home computer. We only have our smartphones. So I had to, after I no longer had Paracruz, get down to the local library to start the process. And then Kaiser's had it held up for a month and a half. And that's a whole different thing. But ADA Ride does say that after you turn in everything, it could take up to 21 days. So the process does take probably 4, maybe 5 weeks altogether. And I don't know if now that I am a registered ride with ADA Ride, if I'll get some warning or reminder of that. And or if that's something you guys can make sure happens. I also think it would be a good public outreach to maybe train some of your customer service reps down at the staffed stations where they have the little laptops or whatever they are, so that somebody could go in and they could help somebody to walk through it that isn't savvy with computers and so forth. That's just my thoughts on that matter. When I finish that process, I will submit my detail of what happened so you guys can have a better picture of that. In regards to RTC, I would like to encourage anybody in this board and anybody in the public that wants to know more about what RTC does, doesn't do, or has not done with their money, and at what time frame they've done or not done that, to attend the RTC meetings and or go and look at them. Their budget committee is an open meeting. It's a boring meeting, but it's open. You can go listen to what exactly they spent money on and why the time frame for this and everything, and they will justify why certain things took longer than others, as someone that's been to all but maybe 1 or 2 of the meetings from last year. Thank you.
Anyone else here? Online?
Can you hear us? We also have David online. David, can you hear us?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Yes, I'm David Van Brink, and have lived on the west side for 30-some years now. Happy New Year, everyone, and thanks for your great service. The newer buses are wonderful. I'm a non-student, I guess, a senior citizen technically, and I use the bus, many times a week for this or that. Last night I came home from a musical performance around 11 p.m. I'm on the west side, so the frequent bus 18s are, a game changer since they started. Just amazing. Oftentimes I'll bike downhill to downtown or wherever and load the bike on the bus to come back home. Although I will mention it would be good if the numbers were always showing correctly on the buses and if the real-time tracking system was like always up to date. But that's small potatoes. Several times now I've run into like fellow, I'll just say grown-ups on the bus, people I know. So it's actually seems anecdotally like there's getting some uptake on it, which is amazing. And one last thing, I'll mention my occasional suggestion that it would be really great to get one of those elegant branded blue waiting shades with a bench and the Santa Cruz Metro lettering at Duridan Station for the Highway 17 Express. In the summertime, it's really hot there, and it would be cool to represent your fine brand. But this is all just thank you again. So thanks, and that's all I have to say.
Elizabeth? Elizabeth, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Great. I'm sorry for any residual noise in the background. Just got off the bus, so walking to my destination now. So good morning, everyone. My name's Elizabeth. I live in the Seabright neighborhood in Santa Cruz that go to work in Watsonville. And I just wanted to inform you all of some recent experiences. The 90X was canceled, I think about a month ago. And since that was canceled, and now it takes longer to get to Watsonville, either on the 1 or the 2. I take the 1 since it's closer to where I live. And that's all fine and well, but it's also been the case in the past couple of weeks that the 1 has been just flat out canceled. Just yesterday, I was trying to take the 1 from Santa Cruz towards Watsonville. I think it was at 8:15 a.m. Ended up just being canceled. And yeah, as David said earlier, it would be great if that real-time tracking worked. And if canceled trips could be noted on there, just for planning purposes, instead of having to wait 15 to 30 minutes for the next bus. So yeah, I hope that's something you all can work on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, can you hear us? Nothing's landing.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on to labor organization communication.
I'll do that. Too soon.
Go ahead, Tim, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. I live in Bay Village in Watsonville, and I have absolutely nothing against Metro. I'd love to see happy people full of in the buses every day. Unfortunately, about a year ago, what used to be bus service on Tuttle Avenue and Bridge Street, which is already a senior village with all kinds of traffic issues. We were trying to get speed bumps put in. Bottom line is, all of a sudden, I see that the traffic, bus traffic, not only started coming in the other direction, but it started coming every half an hour. And I believe it starts at 6 a.m. A lot of these buses are speeding. They come flying right by the house. Most are very good. The afternoon drivers are terrible. But they come every half an hour. So I get like 35 buses a day by our house, and there's less than 2 or 3 riders per bus. Why don't you cut down the service? Why don't you utilize McKenzie Avenue instead of going through Bay Village? Most of our folks that use buses have special needs, and they don't use your 50-foot buses that are speeding by. Why don't you use smaller vehicles? You could service this route with a Mini Cooper. It's ridiculous. You're wasting huge amounts of taxpayers' money and fuel. And it's unacceptable. You won't slow down and there's no need. The buses aren't full. Why do you keep circling empty buses by our house in a senior village? John Ergo admitted a year ago that your consultant from Texas advised you that if you build it, they shall come. So you doubled the amount of buses in the hopes that the ridership would pick up, and it has not. So all you're doing is hemorrhaging taxpayers' money. Huge amounts of fuel, empty buses. Figure something out, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Can I respond briefly?
Sure.
Wonderful. Since I missed last month. So John Argo, Chief Planning and Innovation Officer. So we did increase service on Route 79 through Reimagine Metro. And through the first year of operation, ridership has increased 69% over 2024. So that's calendar year 2024 over 2023. That route exists to serve the senior community in Bay Village, also the fairgrounds on the weekends, area schools, like Lakeview Middle, EA Hall, Watsonville High School. I'm as surprised as anyone else that the ridership has increased that much. 69% is well above what the rest of the district has done overall. It's been a 13% increase, 2024 over 2023. So Route 79 has actually turned out to be a top performer. It is low ridership, or it averages 6 passengers per hour now. So double the productivity it did before, which means we can't run a small bus or a Mini Cooper, let's say. Perhaps a smaller bus, but a Mini Cooper. So it's actually doing quite well at Route 79, but we're happy to take any direction from the board.
I just wanted to add 2 points. A lot of times people don't understand that a bus, you think it'd be obvious, but it may not be, that a bus runs a complete route, and there are certain portions of the route where there's not many people on it. I have people telling me all the time, oh, these buses to UCSC, they're empty all the time. They're looking in the afternoon, say in the morning, and a bus that's returning, having been so full that it passed people by going up the hill, coming back, there's almost nobody on it. But so that seeing an empty bus doesn't mean our bus is useless. The bus doesn't have a choice of like changing its size halfway through the route or something. And but again, I'm not making a joke here. It's people point that all the time. The other issue is we've looked at this really seriously about the possibility of having a number of different sized buses, but the cost of having the parts and the inventory to supply all different size buses, mechanics trained on fixing different kinds of buses is prohibitive. And so it makes sense to, even though sometimes the buses are not absolutely efficiently, we could get away on a whole route with a smaller bus. We don't have that smaller bus because it doesn't make sense for us to keep the parts for, a third of our fleet being smaller than the standard sizes that we use. And so it might seem irrational to people if they see a little, it's like the fifth of the elephant or something. Somebody feels the tail and doesn't understand what this beast looks like. I mean, there are reasons why we're doing this stuff, and it's not just like sloppiness or we don't care.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. If it averages 6 passengers per hour, it means there are times when it's 15, 20, and that's why we need our greatest asset is the capacity of our vehicles to move people through tight spaces.
It's my understanding too that a lot of the cost is in the bus driver.
70%.
I'd like to echo what Director Rockin was saying about people talking about buses being empty on some of these routes. But I ride the bus and I see it at the Metro. 79 I've seen a lot of riders because you got Lakeview Middle School, you got Watsonville High School, and then you got EA Hall. And Bayview Village, it is a quiet neighborhood. And buses going through the neighborhood is probably gonna shake their buildings. There's some really old homes around there. So I can see that people complaining about that.
2 vehicles per hour.
Yeah, but ridership has increased and I seen it
69.
personally.
Yeah, that's right.
We should look into the speed issue. So, I mean, I don't know. So I'm not there. And I don't know whether the bus drivers, I think our drivers are responsible and do their job. But it may be that some drivers needed retraining in terms of going too fast through a neighborhood. We should take that complaint seriously.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll move on to item 9, labor organization communications. Do we have any comments from labor organizations this morning? None. Additional documentation, item 10. Under item 10, we received 4 emails that were sent to the board members on the 23rd, so they'll be added to the agenda packet. Okay.
Chairperson Downey, can I comment on something that one of our audience had talked about? I think it was the ADA, right? Paracruz. Can I go back to that?
Go back to that? Okay, sure.
Is that okay? Okay, so you were talking about the on-site page where you sign up for Paracruz, right?
Right.
I also found that it was difficult for some of our disabled community to be able to access this program or this site to sign up for Paracruz. And definitely we need somebody at Metro that is trained in this advocacy to file for Paracruz, because there was a lot of issues that my clients didn't understand when they were signing up. So we do need that support from Metro. And so I feel for you because I was even having a hard time with it. So it definitely Metro needs to look at that and maybe have more support for our clients that need that extra.
Right back into community service it was originally intended to be versus fulfilling a legal obligation. Because I honestly believe Metro intends it to be a service to the disabled people of the county. And ADA doesn't look at it that way.
And then sometimes doctors even hold their forms, the part of the doctor that he needs to fill out. Sometimes it takes so long to get processed. So we need to speed that up.
Well, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
We'll add it to our to-do list. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So on to the consent agenda, where all items are recommended actions that are considered to be routine and will be acted upon as one motion. Do we have any comments from our board regarding this or any requests to pull any item from the consent? No. Do we have any public comments on the consent agenda? Do we have any comments online? No. So, oh, okay, they've already done it. I think that was Mike and Tom. So let's take a vote. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No abstention. It passes. So we'll begin our regular agenda with our employee longevity awards for January. For 10 years, Monique Delphin, Human Resources Deputy Director. 10 years, Gustavo Magana, bus operator. David Medina, bus operator, 10 years. And 10 years, Eddie Torres Moreno, bus operator. 25 years. Vicky Sanchez, Senior Customer Service Representative. Thank you all. Oh, okay. Good.
Do a group photo.
Yes. Yeah. But can I say something? I don't know if
Yes,
that's
I was
okay.
gonna ask.
Yeah.
This one.
Well, I just want to say good morning, members of the board and members of the Metro family. Today, I'm here humbled and grateful as I celebrate 10 wonderful years with this incredible company. From the moment I joined Metro, this organization always felt like a family to me. I truly spend more time here than at my own home. So I'm grateful that I get to work with amazing people from our HR team led by Don Crume and all the incredible people that work here at Metro throughout all the organization, all the departments. When I joined in 2015, we had around almost 300 employees.
Today, as of last night at 11:45 p.m., we have 420 employees in our roster. And one of the reasons why I continue to work here is because I know and I have seen how our company believes in their employees. I have seen how we invest in them by providing training classes and on-the-job training. And I want to thank each of you for creating a culture that values collaboration, respect, and excellence. It is a privilege to be part of a team that supports one another and works together to achieve great things. And as I reflect on this milestone, I'm inspired to continue to work on the success of Metro, and I look forward to many more years learning and growth with all of you. Thank you.
Here you go.
Yes, I'm ready.
So,
Thank you.
right, thank you. Do we have any other comments? Okay, we're gonna go straight to. Photo?
David?
One of you guys go.
Thank you.
Any public comments on that item?
Hello, Dawn Creme, HR. I just want to thank Monique and congratulate her on her 10 years. She is a tremendous help to me and to our department and to all Metro employees. I came probably 6.5 years ago and Monique had already been in HR for a couple of years and she was immediately we were joined and she helped, get me up to speed with the processes and the Metro way and, things that had gone on. So I truly believe that my success is a lot to do with Monique and her support. I think we support each other great. And, they say you're never as good as your second or you're never as good as your team and things like that. And I truly believe that because, I call Monique my little half when she's gone. She likes to travel and she likes to be gone for like 2 weeks at a time and she goes to Peru. And I'm like, how am I going to live without you? So I truly appreciate her and I want you all to understand that as well. So thank you. And I look forward to another 10 years with you.
Any comments on that one? So we'll continue on with our retiree resolution of appreciation this month for bus operator Sergio Lona Gonzalez for his 35 years of Metro service. Is he here today?
No.
No. Do we have any public comment?
Move to approve the resolution.
Okay, I was gonna ask for public comment before that. Is that okay?
I'm too early, I'll wait.
Do we have any public comments? Any online? Okay, Mike.
I move we rescind second for retirement.
Scott seconds the second. So all in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No abstentions. So now we'll turn to Larry Pagler. We wish to acknowledge our outgoing board member and previous Metro Chair, Larry Pagler. And Corey is going to read our resolution.
Whereas the Santa Cruz Metropolitan Transit District was formed to provide public transportation to all the residents of Santa Cruz County, and whereas Santa Cruz County requiring strong public representation, appointed Larry Pagler as member of the Board of Directors of the Santa Cruz Metropolitan Transit District. And whereas Larry Pegler served as an ex officio member of the Board of Directors in 2017, and then as a director from April 2019 through December 2024, whereas Larry Pegler provided Metro with strong leadership and insightful guidance during his term in office, and whereas during the time that Larry Pegler served on the Board of Directors, Metro implemented an articulated bus pilot project with UCSC, addressed impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, performed an on-demand microtransit pilot program, supported the pension obligation bond to refinance CalPERS UAL, joined the Pajaro Regional Flood Management Agency benefit assessment for levee operations and maintenance, implemented an enterprise resource planning program, adopted a social equity and community funding policy, created the Reimagine Metro Bus Network, adopted the Youth Ride Free program, adopted CUPCA, and supported the redevelopment of Pacific Station and the Watsonville Transit Center, studied bus on shoulder, supported the Unified Corridor Study, interacted with SPRC, represented Santa Cruz Metro on the Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission, and participated in Metro events. Whereas the quality of public transit service in the Santa Cruz County was improved dramatically as a result of the dedication, commitment, and efforts of Larry Pegler. And whereas Larry Pegler completed his term as a member of the Board of Directors in December 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Metro does hereby commend Larry Pegler for his efforts in the advancement of public transportation service in Santa Cruz County and expresses appreciation on behalf of itself, the Metro staff, and all of the residents of Santa Cruz County. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Larry Pegler and that a copy of this resolution be entered into the official records of Metro, passed and adopted this 24th day of January 2025.
Stand there during board comments.
All right.
Can we do it on? Okay. So who has comments from the board for Larry?
Well, it's hard to say enough. Appreciate Larry Pegler's contribution to this board. No one else on this board ever got as much into the details of ridership, actually understanding the routes and the many contradictions of actually operating the service. I think Larry's earlier work as the director of transportation at the university helped him get into this, but had it left there and no longer doing that job and coming here, this board really would not have been able to have done the work that we've done without his support. He stands out as someone who really was on top of the work they were doing. And I aspire to someday be able to understand this district the way that Larry Pegler understands this district. So it was a tremendous contribution, and the public really owes him a great deal of gratitude for the contribution he's made to this community. Thank you, Larry.
Donna?
Yeah, I echo Mike's comments. I've not seen anyone work as hard, be as dedicated to the research, get into the weeds, know the numbers. Again, I'm not a numbers person, but Larry has just left big shoes to fill, and I've been proud to serve with you, and I've learned a great deal from you. So I'm hoping that you're going to continue to be involved with Metro in one way or another, because you have a great deal of knowledge and dedication that will be, missed. Thank you.
I'd like to say something. Larry, I have huge shoes to fill. And I look forward to working with you and connecting with you and giving me some ideas of what we need to be working on, especially here in Santa Cruz County, not just North, but South County also. Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, Larry, it's been a pleasure serving with you, and I hope that's not so much actively a past tense, that you'll continue to be a helpful sounding board and provide advice on all the things that Metro is working on. You have so much deep knowledge and experience about this subject matter, and for particular when it comes to the university, which continues to be a critically important part of our service here, obviously for really all transit in the county. And yeah, Thank you for everything you've done and will continue to do.
I just want to thank you for your service on the board and for all that you've done in the community and for providing such a great example for how to serve the community. And thank you.
Larry, I'd personally like to thank you for your service. I joined the board in 2022 as you became chair. We were still in the Zoom room at that time, so you were very generous with your time and knowledge, and you patiently guided me through the beginning of my board service, and that meant so much. And our participation on ad hoc committees together means a lot to me, and it sort of deepened my commitment to this organization. So thank you. Do we have public comments on this item? Anything online? Yep. So we thank you for your service and invite you to say a few words if you wish.
Okay, well, many of those things, it's like, wow, we did that in those 5 years. Much of what I think of is, as Mike pointed out, I've been working in transportation since 1984. I've managed the contract from the university to the metro. And I was a writer for the 7 years before that. So I'm coming up on 50 years of experience with Metro. That seems like a really long time. You didn't have the term data wonk, which I will acknowledge is much of what I like to do. I do analyze the ridership data. I know it pretty well. Many years ago, Mike sponsored a student who used a new tool called Geographic Information Systems to analyze data, and we came up with the Route 20 as a proposal that received terrific ridership very quickly. But all that's behind me. I was starting to think about retirement, and I thought maybe I'll just not go to meetings anymore. But I am continuing to be very interested in transportation and transit. And I especially want to thank the board members I've worked with. Rotkin's Rules of Order have always helped me as a chair and as a member of the committee. Donna, you've been a great asset in guiding me through these things. Manu, Julie, I want to acknowledge you, who've helped greatly. It was an interesting 5 years in going through a series of interim CEOs and CEOs. Thank you to Daniel and Dawn for those times. Chairing, I think I had one meeting where I was actually in person during 2022 as chair. All the rest were Zoom. And I especially want to thank the staff, looking at the staff who've been so supportive, and all the bus operators who have been terrific. That's our way of staying in touch with the community. So thank you very much. Oh, look at that.
Wait, there's more.
Yes.
I don't think it was
They won't.
error. Some TikTok thing. Thank you.
Very long.
Very cool.
Thank you. And a motion is required for this resolution. Did you want to share, Mike?
I was gonna make the motion.
And do we have a second? Yes.
The resolution in Corey read to the thing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No abstention. Thank you, Larry. We'll now hear from Margot Ross, our Chief Operations Officer, with an update on our bus fleet retirement schedule.
Morning, everyone. Margot Ross, Chief Operations Officer. So you all asked us to update fleet schedule last month. So if I don't think the list is up there, but I'm sure you all looked at the list. So the FDA requires buses to be in useful service for 14 years. As you noticed, some of our buses are a lot older than that. And then also on the list, it showed that some of the buses are still in useful life for 26 years, which means that we actually replaced the engines on those buses, which added more years to it. We have 3 vehicles that are over 1 million miles, and we have or six that are approaching that. Our average age of our vehicle is about 15 years. We have 9 vehicles that are over 26 years old. So I'd like to commend the fleet and maintenance staff and the parts department. They do an outstanding job of trying to source these parts for these older vehicles. But as you can imagine, they're outdated. So we also have a few other issues. We have a lack of OEM technology training. So the OEMs bring us the best, those are the best manufacturers, but they too are in shortage of trainers. So they don't have the ability to train our staff. And we're looking for opportunities of training and to fund that training. Also, with the increased mileage for Reimagine, which bumped up our services, example, 18,000 miles of service means that the plugs and valves have to be changed, right? We are certainly outgrowing our facilities. We have 1 Arctic bay and now we have 9 Arctics. So that's become a challenge. And though we've hired new mechanics, which is awesome, it takes 5 to 6 months to train those mechanics. And that's not even counting the 6 to 7 weeks that they are training to have their CDL. So that you have to keep in mind in that. But the good news is we've added weekend service for our mechanics. We added graveyard service, swing shifts. We're looking to do battery replacement on the hybrid vehicles. And then we've increased our volume of parts in the warehouse. Any questions?
Could you give us in the public kind of characterization of how we're gonna do with the number of buses before we actually get all these hydrogen buses in, when our problem will be not totally solved?
So
what's the future look like for the next couple of months?
So we have the 10 OCTA buses and we prioritize them being put into service so that we can swap them off for the older vehicles to be destroyed as per the VW grant. So it's a delicate balance that we're doing. We're swapping 1 for 1. And we're also doing the same with the Arctic vehicles, which, you know, we purchased those as well. So we are trying to swap 1 for 1 slowly, and we're making priority of the OCTA buses, which are 10 of them.
I just add the comment, you have to be impressed that given the supply chain problems with the parts and so forth, when I read that our mechanics are actually manufacturing some of the parts we need for our buses because they can't get them somewhere else. I mean, I don't think that usually comes with a job spec for a mechanic in a bus system, that you have to actually manufacture a part that you just can't get off the market. That's pretty impressive, I have to say.
I can say how long I've been in the transit industry, that makes me old. But the fleet and maintenance team here are creative, smart, they work hard. They come up with solutions that probably would have put a bus out of service normally. So they do a really good job of making it happen when otherwise we may not have that bus on the street.
I know, I counted when you were saying, so there's 7 buses over 900,000 miles. And with the 3 over 1 million, all 10 of those, the 10 new buses are needed now, so.
They are, and we may limp those 900,000 mile buses along.
Yeah.
We increased our mileage a lot, you know, so that makes a big difference.
Great work for everybody.
I have a question. I know that there's been a lot of hiring of new bus drivers.
Yes.
What happens when those bus drivers don't have a bus because our buses are breaking down? What do? Do they train with other bus drivers or?
So we have them do other assignments and we allow them to train and do outside, you know, training relevant to bus operations. We try not to do that. Sometimes we'll split assignments so that everybody gets a piece of work. We do things like that. So we do run in, we also added more vacation time, so that normally maybe we have 5 or 6 operators off, but we added more vacation time. You know, it helps with morale, certainly, that operators aren't sitting around, they're actually able to go on vacation. And then we grant more time off, so that helps a great deal.
Do we have questions from the comments from the public?
I just want to say, I appreciated reading the report and getting some information after last month's meeting, getting some real information about how we're handling the problem that we confronted. And I'm happy to report that I think that the district's on top of this problem, which we were not on top of 2 months ago.
Thank you. Now for our CEO report.
Good. All right, let's see. On December 5th, Metro's Fleet Operations and Human Resources passed its CHP annual inspection. So since new hires, promotions, and career changes since December 12th, we've had 1 new paratransit operator, 5 promotions, 2 which transit supervisors, 1 fleet maintenance supervisor, 1 safety and training program specialist, and 1 mechanic 3, and then 1 career change, moving over to a senior financial analyst. Metro successfully launched Your Voice Matters, and we've received positive suggestions on enhancing service, improving efficiency, and refining processes. Metro is installing 5 bus shelters in Watsonville. On January 16th, I presented an update on Metro services to the Capitola Aptos Rotary Club. I did issue a public apology letter after the last board meeting about the change with the winter service. Done a number of interviews with Lookout, Sentinel to provide details and clarification and what we're going to be doing moving forward. The board made a request to move our meetings around Santa Cruz County, and we're working on that. We'll have it finalized for the February board meeting. We are also doing social media posts to promote the board meetings. I will be attending the Senate Budget Committee hearing in Sacramento on February 6th to provide an update on Metro's SB 125 fund implementation, reporting our task force involvement and our fiscal outlook. Metro will be participating in the Monarch Migration Festival at Natural Bridges on February 8th, and we will showcase our one ride at a time Monarch bus, which so happens to also be on the front page of the Sentinel today. So if you want to see what it looks like, go there. Metro, we just found out that we won 2 first place awards in the 2025 APTA AdWill Awards competition. 2 categories, one ride at a time print media and one ride at a time comprehensive campaign. The awards will be presented in February at the APTA Marketing, Communications, and Customer Experience Workshop. This will make Metro eligible to win the APTA Grand Prize Award at the APTA Transform Conference, which will be held in September of this year. And last, we have a retiring employee, Isaac. So Isaac will be retiring with us on next week on January 31st. Isaac started here at Metro on March 4th, 1999. So that means he has worked here 25 years, 10 months, and 20 days. The last 6.5 years as the director of IT. And he has brought a lot to the organization, and he'll be missed, and we wish him the very best. And we also have an award for Isaac that we'd like to present to him. Thank him for his time as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah.
He started his career as in Scotts Valley.
Actually started as a temp in 1998. When the buses 98s were actually new. All right, and that is the end of my report.
Have any board comments about the report?
Well, I think it's been good. I think we have, we'll have definitely some, better standard operating procedures in place. One thing that we talked about, but one thing that we have done as staff last week, all the departments got together and did kind of a dry run of service change, what that looks like and how it touches every, who does what and how it affects everything and to help understand the process and where we can improve things on that. As you know, I had talked about in December, before Reimagine Metro, our service changes have been really basic. They didn't affect much. We didn't really need more buses. We didn't need more things, but with Reimagine Metro, it's changed everything. Everybody needs to be a part of this process and we stand and fall together as an organization. It's not left up to one person or one department. It's all of us. So
I just wanted to also thank Isaac. I've, worked with him through the years. He's always been very responsive, always there, even helping with IT. Yes, my math, and emails and things like that. And like I said, what I was talking about, the Lintel back in Scottsdale in the old days, even working there. So, yeah. So appreciate all your support and all the work you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if we have an extra shelter that could go over to Dearden Station.
To where?
Dearden Station, someone from the public here mentioned that they'd like to have a.
So I've asked, VTA, to let us put a shelter there and it's been a no, but they have a new COO, so let me speak to him and see if we can get something, there.
Well, and they're in the process of developing that whole area as far as I understand. So
There's a bench there now, but there's no cover.
Yeah.
There's a shelter. It's just not.
So I've noticed Watsonville is getting new shelters. I saw the one on Freedom, very nice. And I noticed that they're working on the Main Street shelters also. So I know that the crew is out there cutting the benches out and just cleaning it up. So that's a good thing for us in Watsonville because when it rains, we gotta find somewhere to take cover. So those shelters are awesome. So thank you for that.
We're working on it and it's process. And I think as we move forward in the future, we'll be looking at different grant opportunities to maybe do even more. So
maybe we should have a number where riders can report if they're say dirty graffiti. Is there a number there we can call and say, hey,
is there?
Customer service.
Under customer service.
Yeah.
Just call customer service.
Yeah.
Sometimes they
we have a specific form on the website.
But is it on the?
Is it on the bus?
Yeah, so if you do a customer service through the website, in the drop-down menu, it'll ask you what type it is. You could put maintenance request on and put it into that.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, is there something that says like, does this shelter need service? Reach out, contact customer service.
There's customer service numbers on every flag sign at each stop. So customers can call in and report graffiti and my team can enter those tickets. Or if you go to our customer service page, there's a self-service option. You can enter the stop number and what maintenance it needs, whether it be graffiti, trash, so on.
And the ones funded for the California Clean program have flyers posted that they're coming and it directs them, has a QR code to our webpage where more information is with all the locations and then.
Thank you for that, because I did see that sign this morning at the Main Street across from Mount Hill. So, yeah.
I just wanted to thank you for all the articles. And your participation in the meeting. I think we mentioned before, people understand a little bit more about what's happening then they're a little more patient. And, even if they're not, they know something's gonna change. Do we have any comments from the public on the CEO report? Fine, no. Well, our next board meeting will be on Friday, February 28th at 9 a.m. here at 110 Vernon Street. You're now adjourned. Thank you.
Sure.